Alright, this is the Angry Birds final project. Let's get it going. Okay, so here is my first level. As you can see, we've got the birds. One is loaded up in the sling. There's 3 more. They're hopping. They're blinking. And then if we go over to the left, because we can also zoom in and out, and we can pan, and we see that this level here is identical to the level 1-1 that we were asked to include. Also here you can see the pig is occasionally blinking and smiling. And then just for comparison, here is the example of the 1-1 level. So yeah, it seems pretty close, I think. Alright, so there's a number of things we can do. Like I said, you can pan and you can zoom in and out. To recenter it on the sling, I can hit C. And now that that's recentered, I'm going to go ahead and click on the bird. Alright, so let's go ahead and shoot this first bird here. As you can see, the sling moves along with the bird, so it's like he's in it. Also, we've got the predictive path, these little puffs that are updating as I move the bird around so we can see where he's going to go. So go ahead and shoot it up here. Alright, and so a couple things happen. And we'll take a look at those in just a second here. So you can see that we've got this path, which did follow the predictive trail. We can also see that the bird reset when everything was asleep. And he did some damage to some of the boards, and the pig has some black eyes. He's still blinking and smiling, but he's doing that with black eyes now because of his damage level. Yes, let's go ahead and shoot the next bird. Alright, so he destroyed that block, and then everything went to sleep, which is why it reset. You may have noticed that when he shot the block, the block had accumulated enough damage at that point to turn into shards. The damage is a multiple of the its effect of the bird. So however fast the bird is going to impact the amount of damage applied to the block, and it also applies a different amount of damage to different blocks. Alright, and then I made it so that the blocks do a little bit of damage to the pig on initial contact, which it seems to be the case in the original game. And additionally, if the birds hit the pigs directly, I had them instantly kill the pigs, which I also believe is what happens in the game. Alright, so we got the pig, and it's a little fast, but he does have like a little puff of smoke when he's murdered. And so then the bird reloaded automatically, so that way there's always 1 in the queue. So here you can see that he did hit it with less force that time on the bounce. So there's damage applied to this board, but it's less damage than the other board received. Okay. And if we wanted to reset all of the birds, we could do that by hitting R. So now they're all back. And if we wanted to reset the level, we could do that by using the home key. And now the level is back. And then we can also cycle between the levels by using the level number. So this is our level 1. All right, and then level 2, level 3, level 4, and level 5. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to, let's go to level 4, which is another one of the required levels. So as you can see, we've got our bird in the sling. He's got 3 bird buddies queued up behind him. We've got the structure over here. Oops, let me zoom out a little bit. All right, and I think that that is pretty similar to the one that was required for 1-9. All right, so we got bird, so in this here, which is the example, we've got the bird with the 3 birds behind him, and then we've got this tower with the pig. It did say that making little pigs was optional, so I just made all my pigs the same size. So here this is in relation. It's kind of hard to get it all into frame, but yeah, I think you can tell that it's basically the same. All right, so let's go ahead and knock on this tower. All right, so the bird hit, it created this damage. Looks like it also did some damage in there, and then once everything's asleep, we go back to the next bird. Go ahead and hit it again. It got destroyed. It had little shards. All right, and then this pig got a little bit beat up, so he's got some black eyes. Let's see if we can get him to the next damage level once he stops rolling. Takes a while for them to all fall asleep sometimes. Alright, here we go. I'm just going to send him basically along the same path. Maybe try to hit right next to it to see if we can damage that pig just a little more. Oh, nope, I killed him. Alright, well, we'll keep it going. Keep trying to get the pig to the next level of damage. Oh, there we go. So this one over here looked like he had gotten there. Unless he got killed in the process. Yeah, I think he got killed. Well, those piggies are gone. So let's move on to a different level. I'm going to go to level 2 now. Alright, so here we can see we've got some more birds queued up. We've got some different birds this time. We've got our blue bird, our yellow bird, our white bird, and our green bird. Also want to point out real quick that if we hit the plus key, then we can turn the fixtures on. And as you can see, the bird is a round fixture, or I'm sorry, as a round debug sprite. The this wooden block is a circle as well, whereas these other blocks are squares. The pigs are also circles. Alright, so that's where we can see, and I've got this invisible bar on the ground, which is what they're all standing on. Alright, so let's see some of these other birds in action. Alright, so here we've got the bluebird, and he's just a normal guy, and then you hit click, and he splits. And he instantly destroys the ice, because that's what the bluebirds do in the game. They're very strong against ice, and he is weaker against other things. You can sort of see on here he did a little bit of damage to these round ones, but not really enough to knock them off of there. So let's see if I can get the next one. Oh, also I added a bigger poof when it's activated, its special ability is activated, because that's similar to what they do in the game. Also this time around we've got some helmet pigs too. Alright, so let's give this guy a try. Oops, kind of missed. That's okay though. Alright, so this one drops an egg and then goes flying off, so and the egg's got this sort of thing. And then our green bird is a boomerang. Alright, so that's just going to reload the last bird again, unless I tell it to reload all the birds. Let's go ahead and just restart the level so we can get a look at it. I kind of forgot to show the level design. Alright, so here's level 2 again. I've got our birds back, everybody's back in their own places. So we've got our required amount of blocks here. And let's see, so some of these are round, as I mentioned before. Some of them are squares. And we've got Helmet Pig, which is going to have the different levels of damage before becoming just a normal beat-up pig. I'm not sure if that's how it is in the game, but it just made sense to me that you'd crack his helmet off and then kill him. And then we've got these two pigs who feel like they're safe inside, so they don't have helmets. Alright, so let's try this bluebird again. Alright, splits into 3, so this guy gets a little damaged. Alright, and then he gets a little bit more damage. See, that helmet came off like I mentioned. What happened? Looks like the pig in the middle died, and this little guy's still cozy safe in his house. Alright, so let's see if I can not miss this time. Oh, that just... yeah, so he's really strong against things when he activates. So that's why he pretty much just destroyed that circle. Oh, I'm always too soon on the egg. Like, it works fine. It's just me who clicks too soon. Alright, and then we've got him again. So he can come back. I did make him stop when he hits something. Otherwise, the force would just keep pulling him to the left, which seemed unnatural. So he's just going to go, and then he's going to circle back. And everything was asleep. So there we go, he killed that. And for the moment, I'm just going to not activate him just to show a little bit more of the stone detail. Or at least I'm going to try to. Alright, so we cracked it a little bit more. Oh, hit the other one. It's probably okay. Alright, there we go. So he got it, and it exploded, and it had a bunch of stone shards, and then he hit that wood one, and it had some, the wood shards. Alright. So, yeah, I think we just have the one pig left. Ah, okay, got him. And you could kind of see the little puffs of smoke when he died. You know, that could be bigger, but just how it is. Let's see. So now we've got this next level here. So we've got a bunch of pigs. We've got a couple in the wood, a couple in the ice, one in the stone. Like I said, pigs and bricks do damage each other a little. Alright, so here, and if you notice, everybody's still jumping around and everything. So here's our first bird. Alright, he's just a regular red bird. Just gonna do regular red bird things. Hit that, damaged it some. Alright, next we've got the big red bird for comparison. Now he's gonna do a bit more damage. Alright, and then here we've got our blackbird, and let me show you a little bit of what he does, and then I'll launch him, because the explosion happens and the reset happens kind of quick, but I want you to be able to see the explosion. So we launch him, and then he does the explosion, and there's some puffs of smoke. So this time when I do it, send him over here, explode it, and like I said, it's kind of hard to see, but we can see the aftermath of it. Alright, so let's try that again. So you can see he is doing damage. Let me go ahead and reset the level and try to get just to him. Actually, I want to show the big bird again real quick. It looked like. See, he just tore straight through the ice there. Alright, so I'm resetting it again to show you a little bit more what this blackbird does. We can go over here, activate him. And like I said, we can go over and we can see the aftermath of this explosion. The force was applied to these objects because the boom itself, the explosion, is a sensor. So that is what happened there. Alright, then we can see these pigs again getting knocked around and beat up. Black eyes, cracked helmets, the ice is getting beat up as well. Let me just run into this without exploding him. See a little bit more. Also, whenever he collides with something, he's got feathers. It originally made it so he only spawned the feathers the first time he collided with something, but, whoops, exploded a little soon. But then after playing the game, I think that was a real good example of how that sensor just worked. It just decimated everything around it because it had enough damage accumulated already that the damage the explosion applied was enough to destroy it. Alright. Oh, I was going to say, I had originally made the birds spawn feathers only when they first hit something, but then I played through the game and it looked like they were spawning feathers every time they hit something. So I changed it so that they spawned the feathers every time they had a collision. Alright, here we can see a couple of better examples of the pigs in their different states of damage. So this one's just got a small bit of damage to his helmet. This one has a large amount of damage to his helmet. So as you can see, you know, these different birds do different things. They've got, you know, again, bluebird splits into 3 copies and is strong against ice. Right, and that rolled a little bit. This yellow bird here, when you hit him, he accelerates and goes a little bit faster. Hits a little harder. And then the white bird, like I said, as you fire him, he's going to drop an egg. The egg does some damage. Alright, and so here's an example of what I was talking about earlier with once the helmet pig gets enough damage, I switched him out for the regular beat up pig, which was an intentional choice. Alright, and so then again, the green bird, boomerangs, just has this nice arc where it gets pulled backwards until it collides with a block or a pig. Alright, and so then again, the big red bird does more damage than some of the others. It's real strong against ice. It just destroyed those guys. It also hits the wood and the block a bit harder, and of course, or the stone, I mean, and it does that without needing to be activated. That's just how he is. And again, the black one explodes. Okay, so that is all the birds and their abilities. I think you've seen the different states of the ice, wood, and stone. Yeah, so see there's the ice exploding and it's doing the icicles as it exploded. Alright. So then, let's see. They do have different strengths. The wood's a little bit bouncier than the ice and a little bit heavier. The stone's the heaviest and has the most friction. The ice is fairly weak and it's got low friction. Let's see, we've talked about our pigs. We got different damage amounts. The ones without helmets are weaker than the ones with helmets. Of course, they're both weak to a direct bird attack, but the wood also damages them a little bit, and they also damage the wood a little, and stone and ice. Okay, so, you know, the levels are all a bit bigger. The camera follows the bird when it's flying. We can pan and zoom when the bird is not flying. I also made it so that you can pan and zoom after you've like launched the bird, but he's still on the board, as I've shown before. So let's see, all the levels do have 12 or more blocks with the wood, stone, and glass combination, with the exception of, you know, the mandatory levels, which were just followed as closely as possible. We got the 3 birds in a queue on the screen, jumping, blinking. The slingshot is functional. Like I said, the rubber bands stretch out with the bird, creates that projected trajectory. Alright, I did use the background. Since I didn't want it to get too stretched out or zoomed in or whatnot, so in order to kind of keep the central image to look, you know, as nice as possible, I did copy the background at the end and the beginning of it to make it longer. Unfortunately, it is not a seamless background, but you know, I did the best I could with that. Alright. And like I said, they've got the health systems. Let's see. They've got the 4 different damages for each, for like the wood and for the stone. Yeah, so you can kind of see it just right there. In this one, we've got undamaged, a little bit of damage, a little bit more damage, very damaged. And then, of course, you know, when we destroy it, like I mentioned before, it has the shards. It's the same for the ice and the stone as well. So there, the ice broke. And let's do one more. Well, it's a little hard with him because he destroys the. So we've got our pigs, our birds, our things cycle, like the wood and everything, and ice and stone cycle between the 4 different images based on their amount of damage before being destroyed and throwing out shards. Like I said, the camera follows things. We got the different fixture shapes. So let me show a couple more things that didn't come out quite perfectly. So here's my Ferris wheel level. And as you can see, we have these pigs on here. They're staying put. They're spinning around on the Ferris wheel. They've got this joint and the joints that keep them where they are. Unfortunately, though, I did have some problems with this. So some problems here are, for some reason, I can't make the pigs and the bird interact. Second problem is when I launch the bird, the whole screen goes orange and it stays orange. And I do not know why that happens when I launch the bird. I asked on Piazza a few days ago, but didn't really get a response as to the orange bird, or the orange background situation. As you can see, I can zoom out for infinity, and it's just constant. So I don't know why that is happening. Secondly, like I said, my birds and my pigs don't seem like they can interact with each other. By the way, that was me resetting the level when it goes back to clear and Angry Birds looking. So let me show you a little bit of what's going wrong here as far as the pig-bird interaction. So if I go into my pig class, just a second. Alright, so I go to where I set up my pigs filter category. So you can see here we've got filter category pig, mask bits, the stick wood, that's the stick that they're sitting on. And I call my birds the player and just have them all in the same player category. So right now the only thing the pigs interact with is the stick that they're sitting on. If I instead tell them to interact with the player also, well then I get this problem. And the wheel stops turning. And they still got these fixtures, but for some reason the one on there is being weird and it's just not spinning right. And I don't know why interacting with the player would cause that to happen. If I kill these pigs, you can see this starts to spin a little better until this pig gets to the same part where the other one was breaking. Also, since I got this background issue, it makes it hard to demonstrate the debugging here, but basically, like I said, if you can remove as many pigs as possible, then the wheel spins a lot better suddenly. Until this pig gets to the part on the wheel where he gets held up. So I kill him, and now the wheel spins freely again. Like I said, I don't know why that happens. I've checked the collisions. Like I mentioned, the only thing that I'm changing here is that the pig also interacts with the player, which is the bird. Everything else works good. Like I said, we got level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Able to switch between those. Another thing we can do here is when I shoot him, well, at any time, P for pause and unpause. I can also use the O to make it go in super slow motion. Pause that there, unpause, he's still in slow motion. If I hit O again, he'll go back to normal speed. Then we have a lot of little things like, them spawning the feathers when they hit in the correct colors, the trail puffs. The various states of pigs getting hurt and them still animating even though that they're hurt. Camera controls. The one thing you might have noticed though that is missing from my game is sound. This was another thing that I'd asked about on Piazza and in Discord. Wasn't really able to get any useful answers. Followed the directions as they are in the Lecture 5 notes. I copied the libraries and the DLLs to the debug file inside the source file inside the project. I put the code into the precompiler. So you can see here I've got, so go in here to the properties, and in my build events, in the pre-build event, I've got this reference here, and in my C++, in the additional include directories, I made sure that it's in here. Somebody on Facebook also recommended putting things into the linker. I've got those in here, but just none of it works. So yeah, the problem is right here with this, and I've tried everything I can to make the issue not happen, but whenever that line's included, it just doesn't want to run. I get an error. Okay, so as you can see, when it happens, I get this error, and it gives me this problem down here, which states that the IRR cling create IRR cling device has an unresolved external problem. And like I said, I tried everything that I could think of and asked, and no resolution, so unfortunately there's no sound. But apart from the sound, I think I got just about everything else into the thing. I mean, I guess there was some problems with the Ferris wheel, but the Ferris wheel is technically there, even though it's not functioning completely properly. But yeah, so that's everything. I got everything except for the sound and a fully functional Ferris wheel level. All right. So that is it for Angry Birds, and thanks for a fun class.